Hello, my friends on YouTube. Today, I decided to speak about uh, subject a subject that it's going on in two countries, and it's playing rather. It may lead to something difficult. Anyway, the President of Egypt, President Sisi, he is suggesting to renew. He calls it the renewal of the religious speech. And it's actually not the religious speech that he's talking about, because religious, when we say religious, there are many religions in the world. Uh, in the Middle East, it's known, it was the cradle of Christianity and Judaism, or rather Judaism and Christianity. And when we say religion is normally an ideology sent from above, from heaven, from God, from the Creator, to reach humanity, to help human relate to the Creator in a proper way or in a godly way, and how human can also relate to one another, how to behave uh, between how the behavior between a man and his fellow man. So that is a religion. And Judaism was the very first religion in the Middle East, primarily having the Ten Commandments, which speaks of do not kill, don't steal, don't commit adultery, and so on and so forth. And that's coming from above, and that's why we call it a religion. Christianity also, it's the Christian belief. They believe that Jesus is the Son of God and he came for the salvation of humanity, to teach us how to relate to God in a proper manner and how to relate to one another in a proper way. These are religions. However, in the Far East, there are something else called philosophy. Philosophy differs from religion. Philosophy is a man's effort trying to reach perfection, or trying to reach the ideal way of communicating with the ultimate reality or the Creator, and how to deal with one another as human in the most proper way. Uh, Philosophy, because it's man-made, is human effort to find the best way to deal with one another. It's acceptable if you find something better than what's in the book. It's acceptable to change that. However, when you speak about a revelation coming directly from God, this is impossible to change. And when President Sisi says the renewal of the religious speech, he doesn't actually mean the religions like Judaism and Christianity. He's playing with words, because the only speech that needs to be renewed is Islamic religion, the speech in the Islamic religion, because we know that people go to the mosque on Friday and they come out charged to commit evil and to destroy and to burn, to blow themselves up in markets. So this is playing with the words, and I hope his objective is good, because if he is playing with the word because he cannot say directly the renewal of the Islamic speech, I understand, because there are many fanatics and he wants to take it one step at a time. However, I was actually thinking the same thing about the current prince of Saudi Arabia, that he was renewing Saudi Arabia step by step when he started to build movie theaters and opera houses and allow music concert and so on and so forth. And later on, we know what he did. Uh, he wants to control, even if he leaves some uh, changes to happen, as long as he is in power, it doesn't matter. And I'm afraid that the Sisi is doing the same. He's looking for the power, and he really doesn't care whether they change the Islamic speech or not. I hope, I really hope that that is his motivation. Anyway, we never hear about a Jewish person or a Jewish rabbi or a Jewish leader calling for the renewal of the speech of Judaism. Why? Because the Ten Commandments, what are you going to change in the Ten Commandments? It says don't steal, don't, I mean, things that even a Buddhist will follow without any problem. A Hindu, an atheist will follow these commandments without any problem. So there is nothing to renew in Judaism. They are not hurting anybody by following the Ten Commandments. Now, the Christian, their belief is they never really attack anybody as individuals. That there might be an isolated case or cases that a Christian person, he goes wacko and he does something on his own. However, the Christian teaching itself, I read it, and there is nothing there. It says go and slaughter and conquer and collect jizya from people and kill them if they don't follow Christianity. So in a way, there is nothing to renew in Christianity. Christianity as it is, if you leave them alone, they just go to the church and do whatever they do on Sunday, and they come back home. They don't come out of the churches looking to blow themselves up in market and destroy and burn and do all these things. So when President Sisi says the renewal of the religious speech, he really means the renewal of the Muslim speech, because when we listen to microphones outside the mosque, they really charge young innocent people who do not know to be violent and to go out in the market and to blow themselves up so that they can go to heaven and get 72 women or virgin or what have you, and they go and blow up other worship places like synagogue and temples and churches. Okay, so really what needs to be reformed or the renewal, it should come to the Islamic speech, the Islamic teaching, the Islamic clerks, the Islamic institutes. So when we know that woman is considered half of man in testimony, in inheritance, and man always has to subjugate the woman by force if needed. All these things needs renewal, because the world is not as it was 1400 years ago, when the ignorance was prevalent, and Muhammad came in that prevalent ignorance and spread his ignorance. People now know a lot more than before. For example, now in Yemen, I'm sorry about what's going on in Yemen, but even before the war in Yemen, the marriage of young girls as young as 8 years old was happening, and some girls died, because don't expect an 8 years old to handle sexual activity from a grown-up man. She's a child. And why they do that? Because their religion allowed them to do that. Muhammad have done that. Muhammad married a 9 years old girl, Aisha, and I mean, even by the standard back then, the mother of Aisha, she couldn't believe that he would do that. But I guess the money was good. Then she changed her mind. So to renew, how do you renew the Islamic speech? It cannot be renewed. I have news for you. Because some scholars now they say, okay, let's get rid of hadith and let's only stick to the Quran. As if Quran is so good. Okay, what are you going to do with the Quranic verses that says chop the head off and cut their fingertips and all these violent verses? But once again, if President Sisi is taking steps, step by step, removing hadith first or changing the tone of anger and resentment and hate that it's in the mosque, encouraging the young people, brainwashing them to go and blow themselves up in market, killing innocent people. Starting by that, I am for this. If it's a step by step, I am for that. But if he's playing games like the Prince of Saudi Arabia, just to keep power, I suggest your days would be numbered. Thank you very much, and we'll see you again.